I'm saying though, I made all that shit up.
No, you didn't. Where that love come from? Well, you know I'm in love. You made that up. You ain't can't lie that good.
Man, you get practice after doing this month after month. Man, say it again. They didn't hear you out here. But for those of you online, please stay tuned, tap in, write your questions in. These brothers are coming with some real stories. We've got some amazing speakers out here. Of course, our clinical and our professional team is here to support, and then we've got all of this love and all of this community in the room making this magic happen. So we're going to keep the show rolling. I'm going to bring up our first speaker. Ryan, do we need a break? Okay, we're going to go right into our first speaker. This brother is a dynamic brother. I had a chance to meet him with a dynamic group of folks out here in Oakland, California. I love this place. Working with the Black Joy Parade. He's a creative. He's a writer. He's a social media influencer. This brother, Jacob Adams, is from the Bay Area. Y'all welcome him to the stage, please.
It's nice to meet y'all. It's nice to meet y'all. It's so nice to meet y'all. This is my song. It's called Life Been Good to a Nigga. Cause life has been amazing.
Sometimes I feel unappreciative. I don't really know why I'm like the preacher's kid. Praying all up in the holy hands, holy veil. I ain't even seen the veil, I open well. You ain't even seen the pot, I mix it up. We ain't even seen the pot, we mixed it up. Life's so good for me. If it really ain't good to me, then it's good for me. Life really too good. I've been feeling bad where I've been. I've been feeling bad where I'm from. Niggas ain't gonna ask where I'm from. I said life been good to me. Life been good to me. Yo, everything life been good to me. On everything life been good to me. On everything life been good to a nigga. Ain't even gotta ask me why I did this. God planted this in the seedbed. Now I'm
the
trying to
breath
grow. You can't
of
see
how
me
I'm feeling.
messing
You know, following up the last speaker and channeling the spirit of Daniel Dumoulin. We gotta start all things by giving thanks. So I want to give thanks to the speaker before. I want to give thanks to the space. Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for reaching out. And I appreciate the community. I welcome y'all just as you have welcomed me with open arms. And I hope to give myself an entrance as well as I am talking more about, the topic. I want to make sure I'm channeling the story correctly. So please bear with me. I'm making it up as I'm going. So I'm Jacob. My rap name is Jacob Del Oakland. Born and raised in East Oakland. If you want to get fact checky, I spent about 2 years or so in Hayward, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But
Don't say that.
yeah, I'm not gonna say exactly. I ain't gonna say that. But I think one of the biggest lessons that Oakland has taught me, especially in my blackness, in my black flesh, Oakland has taught me so much more about the pride that sits within us. You know what I mean? I'm a Leo. I consider myself a lion spirit. I consider myself a strong black man. I represent my people and my lineage wherever I go, because that's what I stand on. That's the ground that we walk. And the community that we hold near and dear, as it says, it takes a village to raise a kid. It's not just the village that's alive, it's the village that's dead too. So I thank my ancestors for creating me and moderating me, keeping me in line, kind of like a bowling ball, instead of going off from kilter. But I'm so thankful for this life. In this short life, I'm not that old, even though I'm balding, but I've worked a lot of different positions. I've got a lot of different like accolades and appreciations from different communities about my writing, about my organizing work. I did speech writing for presidential candidates, and the biggest lesson that has taught me outside of that pride of self is to recognize when to say no, is to recognize when something is not for you, and when your space is taken up. You know what I mean? When you recognize that space where you can't meet that level, I've learned from that to say no. I'm learning as I'm growing to say no to more things that take away from my happiness, from my blackness, from my livelihood. And I promise there's a method to this madness. I promise. So, like I said, I'm starting all things by giving thanks. And I have given thanks to my lineage. I've given thanks to my parents. I want to give thanks to this space, as I said. But going on to the topic, how does appreciation play into the ideas of stereotyping and how we view ourselves? Well, I think, again, as I'm thinking about this and as I've been thinking about it, I think that we wear a lot of masks. We wear a lot of masks, not just as Americans, not just as people in Oakland, but as black people, as black men. And we're forced to wear masks, not just because of COVID, not just because of, the imminent threat of a disease, but because of the real threat of whiteness, because of the real threat of racism, of in a lot of ways, homophobia, in a lot of spaces, xenophobia. Black flesh is not seen as something that's looked after, that's sought after. So that pride I found in Oakland opened the doors for me to carry that lineage on wherever I went. And just because I love stories, I wanted to tell a story that relates from my time when I was working in politics. So I was working for a guy named Tom Steyer, and during his heavy black agenda missions, again, I will say black agenda missions because every political cycle has a black agenda. Every political person has a black agenda, has a brown agenda, has an agenda for you. And on the speech writing team and also on the distributed organizer team, they sent us out to do trainings. And we took it in our hands to formulate training programs that work to teach people organizational strategies that goes beyond just the political ideologies that Tom was pushing. It wasn't just about the 5 T's and a global healthcare plan that was going to help the black woman on his commercials. It was about opening the doors for your own awareness and your own awakening for how to move a community and how to grow a community. And one of the hardest things for me is going into that as a black man from Oakland with this pride, with this understanding of being, and having to wear a different mask than what I wanted to, having to remask, having to double mask, having to to come at it from different angles so that I could reach the white people that inevitably showed up. We went for example, for the story, we went to Virginia Beach. My plan for the team was to go to Norfolk State University and to talk to people during the homecoming ceremony. HBCU, talking to specifically the homecoming king and queen who I met through Instagram, good friends. But we were railroaded because our white manager wanted us to do something different in Virginia Beach. In Virginia Beach, I don't know if y'all know, very different than Norfolk State, very different than Norfolk as an area when it comes to racial demographics. And so we went out that night, T-shirts, we had Tom gear, we were sitting on corners, we were yelling his name, and we were doing all this rah-rah. And a black couple passed by us, you know what I mean? It was getting late. It was like 6 o'clock at that point. It was getting late. It was dark outside. And these young black people walked up to us and they were like, "Nigga, what y'all doing out here?" You know what I'm saying? Like, what are y'all doing? And my white coworkers like, we're here standing for Tom, and we're gonna, we want you to vote, and we're fighting for you. We're gonna turn this state blue. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're making all these promises for these black people, for these black youth, right? Who have no idea what we're talking about, who have never ever felt, heard from a politician or anyone in that cycle. And like I said, I learned how to say no. And that for me really opened the doors, opened my eyes into what I want to do as a person. Not just what I want to do as a career, not just what I want to do because my parents want me to be successful, because I need to pay rent, because, any of that. It's the things that hold me back from the moral, from the inside, from the soul. And the reason I'm thinking about this in my head is because there's so many things that move us on an inward level. You know what I mean? Everyone has a passion. Everyone has something that they love. Everyone has something that attaches to them, that keeps them going. In my life, it's music. I love music. Music has kept me alive in more ways than one. And I'm deadfully thankful for music. I'm deadfully thankful for lyrics. I'm deadfully thankful for the words that would inevitably pay my bills and are still paying my bills. And and I think in that way, that the power of manifestation and that power of a black ass manifestation is really where my heart is going, where my heart is at, and where I'm centering myself in for the rest of this life. And I mean, we talk about manifestations in a kind of a blanket statement, but it's not just a blanket, it's real power. You know what I mean? We have the power within us to do almost anything we set our minds to, with discipline, with dedication, and with the motivation, the little bit in the little engine that says you can do it. Your black ass can do it. Shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, obviously, shouts out to Kendrick Lamar, but music in general is that chanting voice. And for me, it's what motivates me. And for a lot of black people, it's what motivates us. And again, tying these lessons together, just because I know I got a little bit of time and I don't want to be talking on forever. I hope y'all understand or overstand where I'm coming from. But, you know, an understanding of self coupled with an understanding of your capabilities and potential, and I like to add a little bit of faith in there just because I'm a faithful man, will get you everywhere. And to, you know, people listening that don't know who I am, I'm not going to do a plug to listen to my music. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for in this life is to spread positivity. It's to spread the thing that kept me alive. It's to spread the things that I see the universe is telling me to spread. We are all conduits to the world and the people from before us. You know what I'm saying? We're all conduits to the spiritual world around us. We're all catching on to these signals. And the more and more that we listen to ourselves, as we listen to God, as we listen to music, as we listen to the propaganda on the radio, the more that we will find peace within self. And that's what I've been doing with my time during COVID. That's what I've been learning with my time in life in general, just as a black man in East Oakland. You walk the streets anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard not to see the reality. And the more and more that of their reality they push onto us, the less control we have over ours. Their reality is theirs. And we need to operate and act within the realities that we can control and understand. And all I can do is get up and wash my ass. All I can do is continue to change, continue to evolve myself. You're never done. I'm never done. And I think that as I'm growing, I'm recognizing that there's going to be more masks. There's going to be more times where I feel like I'm not my genuine self, and it's not my voice. It's not myself. It's not my vision. And I'm still grateful. You know, I'm still grateful because I know every fucking time I'm going to get up in there and I'm going to write another paragraph with my shit and another paragraph and another paragraph, and they going to like it. They going to love it. They going to love what I have to offer in all my black ass glory. They going to love it. And that's all I hope for, because that's all we got. You know what I'm saying? That's all we got in this life. I hope that answered some of the questions. I apologize, but that's what's on my heart.
I'm gonna give this man some water.
Thank y'all.
Yes. Let's give Jacob a round of applause, brother. Appreciate you coming with the heat, man. I gotta go.
I'm sorry.
I gotta go wipe it out.
Do I get up now? I'm sorry.
No, you good. You good. So. I have a question for you, but the first question I want to ask is, do you mind answering any questions?
I love answering questions.
Okay, sweet. I have questions. If for anybody who has a question, okay, looks like we got some questions.
Ooh, I'm scared.
All right. So first, you sound like a woke motherfucker. All right?
I try to be.
You sound like a woke motherfucker, which is great because. I find myself learning from so many people in the environment, but without isolating people who aren't where you are. Because that fire is something that feels contagious, and it feels like you wake up with that and have your spinach in the morning and you power up and you get going. But not everybody has that intuition. Not everybody has that courage. Not everybody has that connection with the spirit. And so I want to talk about, or I want to get a little bit from you about the point at which you found those things, found the faith, you found a little bit of the courage, and the knowing that motherfuckers are going to like your shit.
Well, it comes in two answers. One is the fun answer, and one is the serious answer. First one is, as soon as my grandma liked my music, I was up. I was like, I don't care what anybody else says, because this woman has harassed me all my life. You know what I'm saying? In a positive and negative, but as soon as she liked my song, I knew I was good. I was like, whatever I do now, as long as my OG like it, it's good. And my mama like it. As long as my mama and my granny like it, I don't care about my dad as much. He listen to all types of shit. So, I mean, it's them two niche markets. I was like, thank you. That's it. But like in its seriousness, I had to find my lineage, and I found it from it was a series of deaths in my family, and I had never really dug that deeply into my lineage, into my genealogy, just because I had the idea that everything was it was gonna end with a blank leaf, it was gonna end with a slave tale that I didn't really want to hear. Because I want a warrior story. I want to be from Wakanda. I want to be able to trace my lineage back to a king in Papua New Guinea. That was fighting off white people. That's what I want. I think that's what every black person wants, is to be able to look at me like, yeah, like that was me. But I found that I am the great 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 grandson of a woman named Louise Adams. And you know what I'm saying? I was like, how would I ever know that? How would I ever know that sitting in this black ass life, living my life without seeing my great great aunt pass? You know what I mean? Without seeing my grandfather doing the work his whole life to bring that to us. My great great uncle doing that work to bring that story to us. I got to read an interview from her directly after she was released from slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was alive. She was alive. She had a family. She was in a newspaper in that small ass town in Pocahontas, Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that brings me so much power. And you know what I'm saying? That's why my name is Jacob Dale Oakland. Just because if we started there and she took her 10 toes and uprooted a family of a bunch of big-headed niggas like me, what else can I do? You know what I'm saying? What else can I do? What's next? If you don't like it, I bet the next person will. That's the real answer for me. That's what I'll be saying. I'm like,
bruh, I want to welcome you into the space. Thank you so much for being here. Your story is amazing. I noticed you start off with this theme of saying no, which was really interesting to me because you're so positive. Right? I really want you to tell me say no to what? What was that? What exactly was saying no to? Because, big old smile, positive.
Temptation.
But you came with saying no, what? Talk to me.
Temptation. Brother, I am, just because I like exposing myself, I like being vulnerable. I'm 23 years old. I'm a young dude. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing speech writing and political organizing work for the past 2 years. But I'm like, not 2, the past year and a half. Plus some for extra work. But when I tell you this, hear me out. The biggest fear I've had being a young man in Oakland, or what do you call it? The biggest thing I have to say no to as a young man out here is temptation. And it's not just like women, you know what I mean? Like, I love my girl, this is my partner, I love her, but it's not just like a women thing or like, I can't, like, and at one point it definitely, when I was a young dude, oh my God, that's everything guys talked about. I mean, I'm a young dude, but when I was 18 and I couldn't get into a bar, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had no mustache or beard or Nathan. It was everything we talked about was this pursuit, was this goal. And when I first met you, that's what you talked about. And I think kind of reflectively, like thinking back reflectively, the biggest thing I said no to was myself. For surely, like, cause I could have sent that text, or I could have not got up and applied for that job. I could have not did this. I could have not put my 100% of this. Like, there's so many different situations where you choose to work harder rather than not. And I mean, that's like it's a simplified version of a lifelong work for discipline in self. I work for discipline. I'm not there, but I want to get there. Because that's the biggest thing that keeps me going. I need that routine to keep me flowing. And if I can say no, and if I can say no to myself successfully, that means I can also say yes to myself successfully. And I've been reading a lot of like Taoism books and like different just principles of how to be a sage and how to be closer to self. And I mean, honestly, saying no is a big part of the process. That's the best answer I can give.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for that answer because I think it's very important because the trendy thing is to say yes to everything, right? Say yes to everything.
That'll get you killed.
Right, right. But you kind of flipped it, right? So I appreciate that. Thank you, bro.
Moderation.
Okay.
What's up? What's my man's name? Jacob? Was it Jacob?
Yes, indeed.
Jacob, man, Jacob. My question. I just want to know how you balance between being a political writer and a rapper, because I didn't know that was you when the music started playing. That's you, right?
That's me. That's
That's
all me.
two different ends of the spectrum. So can you describe like the balance between the two?
I'm not gonna get in trouble for this, but so it was not fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it was hard, bro. Like we would be traveling every week, every weekend. We would be in a new city, in a new town, training, talking, developing new programs on the fly. You know what I'm saying? And I would get back home and it would just be me and my brother Muhammad off in the Diamond District, just in his apartment. He'd be like, "Bro, what you feeling?" I'd be like, "I gotta make like 10 calls real quick, but we gonna record this mixtape, bro. We got this." You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm a freestyler, so it made it a little bit easier. And so it would be situations where I'd be like, "Man, how you feeling?" And we would write out little poems, do little sketches. I like animating every now and then. I'm training myself to animate, so I draw little cartoons to help me think and help me process. Now I just do the song. Like that song was 100% freestyle. So it caught me in a moment of really deep appreciation in a time where I really did not feel appreciative of nothing around me. So I try to think as effectively as possible to separate myself. And so, I mean, not separate myself, but to put myself in a different place so it don't hurt me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause,
I got you.
yeah, it was a lot of cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I'll be writing something and I'll be like, "Fuck the white man," and he's playing this shit, and I'll be like, "I'm writing this plan," and it's like, "Damn," you know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? I promise time wasn't that bad though. You know what I'm saying? Like, could have been working for anybody else, but like.
Keep it underground, man. That's cool.
Oh, you got one more, and then Doc, I'm not sure if you're listening, if you got anything to say, but if you do, we're gonna go to you, and then we're gonna let Jacob off the hot seat.
It's hot up here, yo.
Brother
Man.
Jacob, thank you for your words. More importantly, is that thing that you were talking about when you say no. A lot of us have desires, and you mentioned them. But understanding, as Randy said, you say yes. But to adorn your principles and your character, to align yourself with patience and understanding that you're an observer. You mentioned your ancestors and how you arrived to that. The beauty of it is, because we have all that, as you said, temptations, they come in many forms.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned lotus, you mentioned water.
Mm-hmm.
The temptation to bring about birth, to bring life into this world, has to be done with someone or something that you want to create balance. And that's what you're creating, is balance.
Mm-hmm.
So the principle and you understanding where you're going. When we say ancestors, as a young man said earlier, he said libation. But they said spirits. They got us where they know they could get us. Just like they've been doing before they brought us here. See? And it's way back there they started infiltrating. So understand, stay in your path, do what you do, and rise up, because again, it's what? It's that thing the presence that you have. It's the presence that you have. Your spirit cannot let you down unless you let yourself down.
Thank you, man. For real.
Hit him with the no. Doc.
Exactly.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Listen, bro, we're super positive. I hope y'all forgive me. I'm working with kind of two different screens. The phone is picking up my voice, but I'm looking down my laptop so I can see y'all a little bit better. But I'm just glad to be here and be a part of this space any way that I can. Coming all the way from the East Coast, Virginia. And I'm hear y'all right now, so if y'all are trying to redirect me, I should be able to hear y'all now. But listening to you, I hear a lot of self-trust. I hear a lot of you being able to kind of hone your sense of self-control and discipline and stay the course on what it is that you want to accomplish. A lot of self-trust. And, I think that takes a lot of courage. And a lot of the times we think that courage is the absence of fear, but it's not, right? It's doing certain things alongside the fear. So my question to you is, how did you learn to trust yourself, to trust that that discipline would lead you to where you want to go? And did you find that there were fears along the way that you had to muster courage in order to overcome?
Thank you for that.
That's a good question.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, I feel like I faced the majority of my fears in this life so far, man. I mean, not a majority. I'm not being cocky, but you face death from a young age. You could also just not live. You know what I'm saying? You could die in childbirth. Sorry, it's sad, but that's what I think. You know what I mean? Like it's always kind of a glass half empty approach that makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? But like for example, I wasn't afraid of leaving home because I got sent to boarding school growing up. And so I was forced to leave home. So it's like, it was kind of like I have to face it. And I mean, outside of that, I have mantras and stuff that have helped me getting through. I've listened to my elders. Like my grandpa was in a bunch of wars too. I don't know why. I don't know how he was in so many wars. He talks like he was in every war imaginable, but you know what I'm saying? Like he tells me about his discipline and how he got up every morning and walked to school and went and lived in the projects and and again, these stories are always a little saturated, you know what I'm saying? They got their truths, they got their lies, but the fact of the matter is, it kind of comes back to that lineage question, man. It's like I found so much power in root. I found so much power in not just the family, the village units directly around me, but in the community around me too. Like when I was feeling less motivated, like if I was ever feeling down, I could walk around the neighborhood and luck would find me. I would find something I was looking for, or I would find something that I was led to, as I believe. And I mean, it's kind of hectic in the real time as I'm looking at it. Again, reflecting back, because I've definitely had doubt. You know what I'm saying? I got anxiety all the time. That's why I smoke weed. And it's just being honest. And it's never gonna be a situation where it's like I don't have. I have 100% trust in self. If it is that, it's feigned. It's usually like, I gotta do that. I have to do that. And that don't hurt either. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can fake it and you make it, then you still made it. You know what I'm saying? It's about the confidence behind you no matter what. And, I mean, that sounds like bad advice to a young kid, but, like, that, it's real.
But we can explore those thoughts a little bit more on our couch session.
Bet.
So we're going to keep it moving. Thanks, Doc, for those questions. Can we get one more round of applause? Appreciate you, brother, man.